All right, welcome to Amateur Hour. This is the first episode. I'm James Fiddler.
I'm Josh Fiddler.
And here at Amateur Hour, we're amateur filmmakers and we review films and movies and all that kind of stuff. So for our first episode, we're going to do a 2024 film recap. Now, Josh, what are your thoughts on the state of just film and cinema in 2024?
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
I would say.
Why is that?
I watched 24 films in 2024, which was...
Oh, that's ironic.
It was accidental.
Oh.
But...
He actually, this year he'll watch 25.
Yeah.
25 new movies.
Yeah. And I thought...
2080 is going to be a crazy year.
So true. I thought half of them that I watched were bad.
And the other half?
They ranged from fine...
What percentage of the movies...
to good.
What percentage of the movies would you say were like... quality, like actually
quality.
You would recommend it. You'd be like, you saw it and you were like, that was great.
Maybe a third of everything I saw.
Okay.
I didn't see every movie, obviously. There was a lot of ones I heard were really bad, and I didn't go.
Fair. Which movies did you not see because you heard they were really bad?
Sonic 3. Which
such a hater,
which
bro.
Apparently is a hot take because people like that one, but I heard it was bad.
Huh.
What else was there this year? It's hard to remember.
Yeah,
there was more.
Sorry. Well, hey, we'll get right into it. So we're going to be going through Joshua's ranking of each film that he's seen, and we'll be discussing it. I've seen 4 movies that came out this year.
Seven.
I've seen 7. I don't even know how many new movies.
Or our ranking?
We'll go through. Let's go through yours because we'll talk about them at the same time. Well, let's go through my ranking and just talk about. So I ranked.
You watched 7 movies.
Okay, so here is how I ranked my 2024. So I would rank Horizon as number 1, Knox Goes Away as number 2. Those were outstanding films. I would rate Fly Me to the Moon as number 3. Fly Me to the Moon is number 3. Godzilla vs. Kong is 4. Civil War as 5. Madam Web is 6. And the Garfield movie as 7. I hated that film. Anyway.
Not a lot of movies.
Not a lot of films. But we'll jump over to Josh's and we'll discuss each movie in depth.
You want me to start at the bottom or the top?
That's a good question. Let's start at the bottom because I know your bottom movie is very controversial.
Number 24, Deadpool and Wolverine.
So Deadpool is the worst movie you've seen this year. It's the last on your list.
Yep.
Why?
I hated every second of it.
I know this is a very, very crazy take.
I despised it. I was not enjoying my time.
So why were you such a hater? Why did you hate it so much?
Oh, because it was bad, clearly.
Why was it bad? What was your least favorite thing about it?
Well, let's...
I know you're a big hater
I can't pick
of
one
fan
thing.
service.
I can't pick one thing.
What made it bad? What
We'll do a list.
What was the most detrimental thing to you that made this movie bad?
We'll just go with
I feel like you have to argue that it's bad because
the heck
everybody
up.
disagrees
I'm
with
trying
you.
to talk.
Okay.
Jeez.
I'm sorry.
I've been saying it for like a minute. Okay. The base of a movie is always the script, and clearly, and this script was pretty awful. None of it made any sense at all.
Story is king in
yes,
film.
and this was not a good story. It's downright just. I wouldn't. It's disgraceful in a sense. Truly, none of it makes any sense. None of it functions at all. It's built on contrivances and coincidences and characters acting weird ways.
I think our second episode will be that. We'll jump into that for our second episode.
Having to delve into all of that
because we do have a lot
would take hours. Okay, genuinely.
Well, hey, our show.
I also hated the cameos.
Oh yeah, I was not a fan. I didn't see the film, but I saw the cameo that the fire guy did. Chris Evans. I don't know his character's name.
Human Torch.
Human Torch. Yeah.
I
felt bad for him.
I hated that one.
They just ruined him.
Why'd they add him just to kill him?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was strange.
We'll talk about this later. Moving on to number 23.
Megalopolis. Francis Ford Coppola's
Now, if
masterpiece.
if I understand correctly, Francis Ford Coppola has contacted you. He's liked your posts and your stories.
I reviewed his movie and I made a satire post, and it was like, "Oh, this movie's so good," and then it was full of just like insults to the movie, like, "Oh, Adam Driver can skip time or whatever," and that's what I wish I had done instead of watch the movie. And he liked the post, and he put it on his Instagram story for his fans to see.
Crazy.
And I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Didn't he DM you? Or am I crazy?
I commented on another post because he said he was inspired by Citizen Kane, so I asked him about that on his like Ask Me Anything post.
Yeah.
And then he commented, and he was like, "Yeah, I referenced it with the snow globe shot." I don't remember that shot in the movie, quite frankly.
Maybe just put in there and Francis Ford.
There was a lot going on.
Somebody else cut it out.
No, I looked it up. It exists.
Oh. But terrible movie is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Not good.
Script wise, the CGI, some of the acting was really atrocious. I liked Adam Driver.
Adam Driver did a good job.
He was having
Was he like
fun.
staring at some lady on a roof at one point? There's some weird sex stuff in that movie. Sorry. I probably read Second Samuel yesterday. My bad. Confused him with David.
So true. Anyways, it was funny though. It's a really funny movie.
Next movie.
Highly recommend it. Next on mine.
This one you've also said is terrible, but also funny.
Venom 3: The Last Dance. I love it. Terrible movie.
Terrible movie.
Terrible
Bad
script.
Okay.
Awful script. Like things just kind of happen for no reason out of nowhere. But it's funny. You'll have a great time. Especially if you like the first two Venom movies.
Honestly,
which I do.
at this point, that's all you can ask for in a movie. A good time.
Yeah,
You can't have The Mummy 1999 every year.
You don't get that with all of these.
So why did you rate Madam Web above Venom? Because I know you were a big Madam Web hater.
No, I love Madam Web.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I remember I was talking to you about it.
It was my pick for funniest of the year before Megalopolis.
Really? Like in a bad way or in a good way? Okay.
So bad.
Bad way.
So bad it's good.
I remember I think there was a lot of good concepts in the film. I remember watching it and I was like, this South America storyline is kind of sick. But I also really love The Mummy and it reminded me of that. So I'm kind of biased.
Biased, yeah.
Yeah. But at least I know I'm biased. But I was a big fan of that.
So true. It was real bad. ADR was bad. CGI
Dude, there was
bad.
some really bad ADR on that
Acting
movie.
was bad, but in a like kind of charming and funny way.
Yeah, every scene that the villain was in was ADR.
Oh,
not a single scene was
him.
normal.
Ezekiel
which
Sims?
makes me think like, was his regular acting bad? Like,
Or did they just make him?
or
seem
did they
bad?
just like hate him and they
I
were
don't
like,
know.
we're gonna ruin this guy's
I
career?
don't know.
Okay, moving on to the next movie
Both
because
of those were great. Next is
we're trying to keep this short and sweet.
Next is Godzilla X Kong.
I don't like that you rated it so low on this one because I really love Godzilla X Kong.
I love it also. We're kind of in these four like the bad ones that I like.
Okay.
None of it makes sense. Script is bad. Human characters, not the monster versus strong suit. But I still liked big monster fight big monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked the character development. I think they did a lot of good world building.
Did they have development?
I like the world building.
I did like the world building.
The world building was cool.
because they were like,
There was a whole lore with like, oh, there's just ancient people, which also reminded me of the Mummy.
wasn't there lore about like sending signals about Ghidorah showing up?
Yeah.
And like I don't know. I felt like whatever they did contradicted the last couple movies. But
Probably.
I'd have to rewatch it. I saw it twice in theaters.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was so good that he saw it twice.
What a picture, man.
Not good enough to put it above Alien Romulus.
It might be better
Maybe it should be.
if I think about it.
Maybe it should be rated 19 instead of 20.
I despise Alien Romulus. That's next on the list.
But writing, so you hate it more than you like the last, or you hate it more than you like the. So this one would be hated probably a little less than Deadpool and Wolverine for you.
Yes,
But because you like
Deadpool and Wolverine, I think is like actively one of the worst things I've ever seen, and I hate it so much.
But just the writing on Alien Romulus is maybe better than those last four we just mentioned.
Yeah, I would say it's slightly better, but it's not fun like the other ones.
Okay.
Which is why I like those.
I like that you can ignore. I like how this is all objective.
This is trying to be objective. This is more so on the quality of the films than my enjoyment.
Okay.
Because I really enjoy the ones at the bottom.
Okay. So what do we got next? We got Gladiator
Romulus
2.
is a hot take. I'm not going into this one.
I mean, you can delve into it. Yeah, go for it.
Characters sucked. Fan service. Actually, some of the worst I've ever seen in a movie. Plot made no sense. If anyone can tell me where the nest of aliens came from at the midway point of the movie, I'll give you $30. Because they don't
a specific number.
They don't account for it in the script. They just kind of show up, and everyone ignores it because they're like, action scene. It's a bad movie. The CGI Ian Holmes was disgraceful. That's all I got. We can move to Gladiator 2.
Gladiator 2. I know you're a big hater of this. The CGI sharks.
Horrible legacy sequel. Hated all the CGI animals. Not just the sharks. There's
the baboons.
The rhinos, the baboons. There was one shot of a tiger I hated. Just...
They should have gone and figured out what they did on Jumanji, because the CGI in that was significantly
honestly better. Yeah. I think the biggest issue is Maximus sacrifices himself at the end of the first movie, and they just kind of undo everything he stood for, everything he did within the first, literally the title card.
I hate when they do that, when they just revert all of the progress made, build upon the progress that was made in the previous movie, but instead of retconning
instead
everything.
They undo it, and then the plot of this is just beat for beat, the same as the first movie, because they couldn't think of anything better.
I mean, hey.
So, hated this
State of cinema right now.
Yeah. Next on my list.
This one's a really hot take.
This one's a really hot take. Dune.
You're gonna have to walk weird so that the people don't come out and get you.
I think Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya are awful. I could not stand a second they were on screen. I don't think they...
I couldn't stand them either.
None of us watched A Complete Unknown. But
no, I never will, actually. I hate Bob Dylan.
Hated the acting. I think there were some minor plot things and world building things that didn't make sense. But I think the big issue for me was Paul Atreides. His character arc takes place in the course of a minute when he has a vision, and it just ruins the last movie and this movie, all his development.
Because in this one where he discovers, he's like, oh, I'm Space Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
instead of
it's more like Space Hitler.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great.
Wait till the next movie.
I can't wait to see it.
You're not seeing it. I have not seen the first.
I can't wait to not watch it and then talk about it.
If it wins Best Picture, which a bunch of people are lobbying for, I'll kill myself on air.
I'll make sure it's on film.
Good.
On film as well.
It's not a joke.
Oh. Okay, so Fall Guy.
Yeah, I don't. This is another hot take. Jeez.
Why is this one higher than the rest of them? Because I heard... I don't know. Every time I saw Fall Guy, I was not a fan.
Did you watch it?
No, I saw some trailers, though.
Oh.
It looked annoying.
It was just slightly better writing-wise than the other ones. But the whole plot's contingent on the bad guys setting Ryan Gosling up for this big, to be a fall guy. And they have this evidence that implicates them, and they wait to get it. So they have this whole big elaborate plan, and then the one thing that'll incriminate them, they never grab till Ryan Gosling gets it. And it annoyed me so much. Really hated that. A lot of the plot just didn't work with the villain's Fall Guy plot.
Gotcha.
I like Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling in it. They were okay.
You like Ryan Gosling and everything?
No.
Yeah. Don't lie to me.
3 movies I've seen with him. Next is Civil War.
I was a big fan of this movie, actually. This is one of the few that I watched.
You're finally going to disagree with me.
And Well, the other ones I couldn't really disagree. Well, I've actually disagreed with you on a lot of these because
you didn't do a good job.
I would have rated them way higher.
Didn't do a good job.
All right, well, I'll cut back and I'll disagree with you on
Civil War. What's so good about this one?
I think that the... So, on to the next movie. No. I really like the gunplay in this film. I think it's done really well. I think this movie's shot really well. I'm not a really great expert on writing or that kind of stuff, so that's your wheelhouse. But I, as a casual cinema goer, did not have really any big issues with the writing. That one guy, I did not like that one scene with the... that one guy who's always plays like a bad guy in all those movies.
What kind of American are you?
Yeah, that guy. Oh, I hated him.
Why didn't you like that scene?
He pissed me off.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah, and it was just like, I saw you posted this thing and you were like, this is dumb because he was just, why ask him? Just like, what kind of, he was going to shoot him if they weren't American. Like,
yeah, so it didn't matter what kind?
Yeah.
And then someone responded to that when I posted and they were like, the other guys heard the other people say states, and they lived, and they still chose to say Hong Kong. So at that point, it's just survival of the fittest. Like, if you can't figure it out and lie. Which I thought was funny and a good point. You see what I'm saying?
No.
Oh.
So they're just idiots, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, the guys who live, they're like, oh, we come from this state or this state. And then the ones who die hear this, and they go, yeah, we're from Hong Kong, and then get shot.
Oh.
And so, yeah,
tragic.
Thought that was funny. Hated the world building in the movie. No,
really,
very lacking.
Actually, I think I agree. Like they didn't. I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to keep it vague enough to where that both sides could see themselves in the side of the heroes or whatever. Which I think is, which from like I hope like. From a perspective of trying to get people to like your movie, I think was a good move. But I think, yeah, like you said, in the world building, it made it kind of lackluster and didn't make it feel real because they were so vague about who everyone was. And the president, like, they made the president seem like this big villain. But he was just some dude.
Pretty much.
That I have no idea about. So when he died, I didn't really care.
I think there was one line about him using drones on civilians.
Yeah.
But it was like in the background or something.
Yeah, that was like that's a show don't tell moment. Like, if you want us to hate, that's been my biggest problem actually with a lot of movies that I've seen recently, is that they'll show they tell but they don't show, especially with villains. With Dominion, that was one of my big issues with that movie, there was the Giganotosaurus, and they were like, oh my gosh, he's the Joker of the dinosaurs, and he doesn't kill a single entity in the entire film.
Doesn't he kill a bug?
He eats a bug.
I'm pretty sure he kills one of those bugs.
He eats a locust out of the sky. But yeah, it was just not... Yeah, you gotta show why we're supposed to hate the villain, why we're supposed to root for the heroes, but they didn't show us that. We didn't know who we were supposed to root for. We got connected, I at least did, to the heroes.
I thought the two main deaths of the heroes were pretty bad.
Really?
And how they worked. Yeah.
I didn't like the death of the guy in the wheelchair or whatever. The
guy in the car?
Yeah.
Who got shot in the back even though
everybody else would have got shot if he got shot.
The other guy was right behind him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't know how that works.
And then Kirsten Dunst just kind of stood there.
Yeah, like she made no effort to...
Didn't someone in the theater gasp or something?
It was...
I was thinking shut up.
You were like,
why isn't she moving?
Really didn't see that coming?
Why isn't she moving?
Yeah, she made no effort to survive.
Yeah.
But we are roughly halfway through, and unfortunately we're running out of time. So we are going to post this film, or we're going to post this episode.
The whole movie.
And we will come back. So we are down to 15. So to recap, from 24, from worst to best right now, 24 to 15, Wolverine, Megalopolis, Venom, Madam Web, Godzilla vs. Kong, Alien, Gladiator 2, Dune 2, Fall Guy, and Civil War. And we will be back, we'll say next week, something. We'll be back eventually.
Whenever.
To talk about the rest of, hopefully this month.
My top 14.
The top 14 movies.
Not all of which I thought were good.
2024. Thank you for listening to Amateur Hour. And we hope you'll be back. Goodbye.